Hello students, as part of our practice for essay paper for UPSC mains examination, here is the topic for discussion. The price of greatness is responsibility. The topic is talking about greatness, responsibility. It says that responsibility is the price for greatness. Greatness could be seen in different ways. One can be great by virtue of his or her power, wealth, contribution, as a leader, or contribution as a layman, a winner, a frequent winner, or an all-time winner in a sports and other arenas of life. We know that defining greatness is really a difficult job. That being successful, being a winner, having power or wealth only partially defines greatness. Many philosophers will not like to call it greatness, and they say it in different idioms. Some people will say that your greatness lies in not in receiving but in giving. Your greatness does not lie in your power and wealth, but how do you use your power and wealth? Your greatness lies in that. Your greatness does not lie in winning. It lies what you do after you win. How do you behave after that? So greatness is very close to power, wealth, victory, and things like that. But one attribute has been overemphasized in this topic of our essay. It's telling that the price of greatness is responsibility. Does it discount the importance of wealth, power, victory, and having a leadership place? Does it deny that greatness has to do with these things as well? No, it does not deny. But greatness does not stop at that point. When somebody achieves wealth, power, victory, name, fame, recognition, popularity, that does not automatically become greatness. Greatness is something more deeper, something more wider, and that width and depth in the notion of greatness comes from a yardstick which is called responsibility. If you become a leader, sarpanch, village headman, then you become a god, Panch Parmeshwar. Then your greatness will not lie in just becoming a sarpanch, but how do you behave as a sarpanch? Do you discriminate and exploit? Do you have a penchant for justice and fairness? Do you have a penchant for helping the weaker and the dehumanized? So once you become Chief Justice or Prime Minister of a country or a village headman, that responsibility differentiates whether you are just that or you are great. So greatness, although requires these stuffs like power and wealth, victory and a position of leadership, it simply does not qualify anybody to become great. What you do with all those things, what is the purpose of your life, what is the mission for which you are working, how selfless or selfish you are, how loving and giving you are, that will be possible only if you are responsible. Our responsibility, first of all, starts with us. That is our moral responsibility to feed and save and grow our personality, the potential which we have. That is our moral responsibility. Life is a precious gift of God. So being selfish is not bad, but being selfish is not irresponsible. If we are selfish, that does not mean that we are irresponsible. We have to take the responsibility to allow ourselves to bloom to the maximum possible realization of our potential, to save us, to feed us, to enable us to flourish. That's our moral duty. If self-interest is that, that is also responsible. But responsibility does not end on that. Responsibility from individual existence or our existentialist battles, it extends to our neighborhood. It extends to the bigger neighborhood. It extends to the whole creation universe. A responsible behavior, therefore, is that whatever good and bad happens, we are ready to own it. We are ready to confess it. And therefore, once we become responsible, we will not do anything for which we have no answers. We will be accountable for whatever we do. This statement is talking about greatness, and greatness is all about your credibility, your accountability, your loyalty to your own principles and values. That makes you responsible. And responsibility is not confined to individual level. Responsibility extends. Once you become great, then your responsibility is about neighborhood. Say, for example, it is to your resident welfare association, the apartment in which we live. Then it goes beyond that. It goes to the sub-district. Then it goes to the district as a whole, goes to the state as a whole, nation as a whole. Maybe if you become very great, then you become an international citizen. Your responsibility is even for that. So as a scientist, as a researcher, as a doctor, as a leader, your responsibility is manifold. The more name, fame, recognition, power and wealth you have, then your behavior must be like a suitable role model. That you should not do anything which is contrary to greatness. Contrary to greatness is doing something which is unbecoming of a leader, unbecoming of a scientist. That you become scientist, it's not just about technologies which give birth to destruction. We will always have to be aware that whatever we are inventing, it should be for the betterment of humanity, betterment of world. As a leader, winning election is not the only goal. We know that if social fabric is destroyed, if people are put against one another, then that kind of leadership, to hell with that. That can never make you great, even if you win elections. Winning elections, becoming a leader, is not becoming a great person. We know there are many presidents which have happened, and just give a comparison to Abraham Lincoln or Thomas Jefferson and Donald Trump. You will find the difference is so glaring and so out. We have many presidents by virtue of different kind of political equations and different kind of assertions by the ruling parties and their cabinets and the assemblies of the state. You can have many presidents, but you have very few which you call great. I will not say that our president is not a great position. It's a great position, but some presidents are held in high esteem than others, maybe APJ Abdul Kalam or Dr. Radhakrishnan. I am just citing two examples without intending to belittle any other president, because it is the highest executive post. But having the highest executive post is not your license to greatness. Your license to greatness is responsibility, that how much you have acted to save the constitution, how much you have acted to save the democracy, how much you have acted to save the interest of the common people. And if at all anything happens, how much eloquent and vocal you had been. If you just accept anything, become a stamp head and just become an instrument of helping the ruling government, then the role of the highest executive of the country does not lead you to greatness. Greatness, therefore, is about responsibility, whether our individual life, our professional life, or our life, public life. Responsibility is really something which is a better license to greatness than any other thing. There are many things which can define greatness, because greatness is, in common parlance, is having a position which is higher than others. Great means big. So you are bigger than others. In name, fame, recognition, power, wealth, leadership roles, you can be. But what you do, how do you do, for whom do you do, all these about your responsibility. And if you take a position and you are responsible, then you will certainly become great. And there had been people in the past, the freedom struggle period, in which we had probably many more examples of greatness. In post-independent India also, we had many more examples of greatness, but they were not essentially the people with highest power and highest wealth and highest amount of success. Those people have been doing something very meaningful, very purposeful, not only for them, but they were taking the responsibility of everything in our country, in our society: poverty, justice, deprivation, water, environment. They have been taking up all kinds of subjects in which they don't have any kind of direct loss or gain for person or selfish gains. They do it, and therefore they become great. So taking responsibility, the bigger responsibility you take and take it successfully, certainly your gateway to greatness opens. That is seen in umpteen instances in history of India and the world history. Contemporary times are also full of people who you will be prompted to say that they are great. And you can cite some examples. So it's about responsibility. Responsibility is about accountability. And accountability to whom has to be explained. And then responsibility is about what you do with your power, what you do with your wealth, and how much you remain confined to your selfish goals, and how much you are selfless and doing for the society at large. This is, responsibility is a great word. In fact, some of the gurus say that we don't require anything to live a meaningful and purposeful life. There is no need to think about greatness. There is need to think about responsibility. The more responsible we become, our success is granted, our greatness is granted as well. That's all. Thank you.